What's up, guys? I'm here with track and field head coach Jeff Perkins. Coach, the new year's here, which means so is the women's indoor season. Talk about some of your events and how you think the strengths of the season are going to play out, any different or similar from years past.
Well, as we go through the years, indoors in terms of the facilities are pretty limited on what we're allowed to get to and what we don't have in California. So a lot of our schedule is based off of our familiarity, which is much more this season as well. With MPSF, our conference championship being in Seattle, we try to base at least our schedule, trying to get familiar with that venue at least one time before we get to that meet. So a lot of what we do is to bring the ballistic athletes along a little quicker than some of the distance runners who have cross country. And so in doing that, we try to find meets that are a little bit more on the competitive side for the entire team, but more so for them as we bring the distance runners along. Yeah. So that's kind of what we look at.
And you guys have 4 meets on the schedule right now before obviously the NCAA championships in March. Right. Can you assess the level of competition that you're going to see in some of those meets?
Yeah, actually, I think I talk about this every year, but the meet we have in Albuquerque, Don Kirby Invitational at the New Mexico facility is phenomenal. It has some of the best teams in the country that are competing at that meet, USC, Oregon, to name a few, and that's really where they can see what they're going to stack up against in terms of the competition nationally for indoor.
And some new faces on your roster. Give us a little bit of background on them. And then really anyone on your team right now that you think is poised to have a standout season.
The newbies, one of the biggest newbies that we signed on the women's side was Michaela Scott out of Carondelet High School in Northern California. She should do pretty good work for us in pretty much all the sprint events, the 60, the 200, and the 4x4. And then we've got a couple young ones that that transferred in. Julia Sambani, she's a 400-meter hurdler that'll take in the 400 and the 4x4, and then Natalie Koppel, who long jumps for us, will also help in the field. But for returning student athletes, Ibi Elkindeli in the shot should do well for us. Barbara Coward in the weight. And then Persis William Mensah in the 60 and Tyra Jones in the 60-meter hurdles should all be factors for us on our indoor slate and what we're able to accomplish from that standpoint.
And followed up right after the indoor season is the outdoor season. Is there any disadvantage or advantage for that matter of having the seasons practically overlap?
It definitely, indoors becomes somewhat of a prep for out. We don't typically, as short as the season is for indoors, try to, as coaches call it, peak. We don't double peak them for the indoors and out. We try to just move straight through and get ready for the longer outdoor season. It's kind of nice for us because we get the men to join us. And as we slowly move into the outdoor season, which can be lengthy, in retrospect to the fans it's not, but to us coaches it feels like a long season. And to try to get them and bring them along with the guys is fun because they at least get the prep of indoors to get ready for out and then really see what we can do as an entire team, men and women.
So you feel like the team mentality really kicks in once you add that outdoor element?
For sure. Yeah, for sure, because the guys really tend to push the ladies a lot, and that's what I like that component. Yeah. It's a unique component for sure.
Right, especially when the sport is so heavily focused around individual elements.
Right. We like to always keep the team component, but it is a very individualized sport, and each person is doing their event and looking to do the best they can in that event. But the men definitely help in that mentality and component when it comes to the outdoor season.
Absolutely. And you've been with this program for so long as an assistant and obviously now as head coach. How have you seen the program grow, and do you have any personal goals for the team this season?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a bit in the 4 years I've been the head coach and the 10 years I've been at Irvine. We try to make the best all-around team that we can from every component of the distance and throws and jumps and sprints and hurdles. And I think we've done a good job of putting more individuals at the national level, at the NCAA, specifically outdoors, and then work on trying to build the team around those leaders that bring everybody else up. And so we have some young talent that we did bring in this year that we're extremely excited about. That are only going to make us that much deeper overall as a team. But for me, I'm always looking to be a top 3 team, always, if not be a conference championship team when we get to the Big West Championships.
So you mentioned sending, those individuals to the NCAA championships. If you can recruit that talent and then start them from such a young age, is that helpful at all then to kind of center your team around the younger
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's also important to have the people, the veterans, to have that experience and to teach the younger ones what it's going to be like to go through that and to have their ups and downs, because this is a sport that is so physical and so exhausting mentally and physically that they really have to be able to hold themselves together through an entire season. Some of the new people, especially the freshmen that come from high school, have never done track for 11 to 12 months out of the year. It's a training phase that's just so uniquely a part of our sport, and the veterans are the ones that help to teach them that, because they're not always going to have success. They're going to have to understand how to overcome those adversities and find a way to be successful at not only the Big West level, but beyond that.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about the mental component of the sports for maybe fans out there who don't follow so closely.
Well, it's challenging. Like I just mentioned, it's physically challenging. So to get yourself up and to get over the exhaustion, the soreness, the ups and downs of the season, the letdowns, the disappointments, and then obviously the victories and the high points, like it can be an emotional roller coaster. So you have to learn as an individual to be very mature about what comes your way and to really rely on the coaches as well as the upperclassmen on the team to understand how to take those situations and make the most out of them, both good and bad, to beat elite. Elite is so unique that those people are always doing something different than anybody else. And to be able to get to that point is, in our sport specifically, you just can't hide. It's black and white. So, to have success,
the stopwatch doesn't lie, huh?
It does not. And so that's the challenge, is being able to live up to those expectations and also stay within yourself and understand what's expected, of you from the coaches.
And at this point in the season, obviously you guys are, gearing up for all the meets. How heavily are you relying on your assistant coaches?
Oh, they're the backbone of our program, to be honest with you. It doesn't all just come through me, and it never has. I always rely on them for just about everything and anything. When it comes to communication and taking care of their event groups and really teaching what the philosophy is of our program, and then also trying to bring up the young ones in a way that's intelligent, to the point of not allowing for injuries and lack of motivation and that type of thing, and overtraining. So I rely on them heavily for just about everything and anything we do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, well, that's it from us here. Be sure to follow the women's indoor track season. You guys get underway January 19th in Flagstaff, Arizona. If you guys want to follow along, UCIrvinesports.com and all of our social media handles as well. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.